All right. So I wanted to introduce one of our account managers and JV partners, Fran Smyle. She's been with us for a good amount of time now. And I thought it would be great for everyone to see her perspective on the whole process of getting involved with surplus funds, learning our system, and working with us as well. But first, Fran, please just introduce yourself and let's get going.
I am Fran Smyle. I live in New York again, and I love what I do. I found full circle, so I have a whole new career, and I'm able to do surplus funds and educate people and let them know they have money coming to them, and they just love that. So it's that simple.
Helping people, it's really nice.
Helping people
it's
is
nice
yes.
when you're actually in a business, because you've done a lot of things as well, and so have I. It's really nice, like, to actually say, like, when you get to close a deal, the other person on the other side is also very happy. Like, you're really actually helping the people who need it the most. And I know everyone always says, "Oh, like, we're helping people in business," but to an extent, it's not the same thing as it is in this business, where you're really helping the people who need it the most, and sometimes even saving a huge position for their family.
Exactly.
But Fran, why don't you give me a little background on how you got here and what you were doing in the past and some of the things you've done.
I've done a lot. I started out in real estate many years ago in apartment management, and then took my license to get my real estate license and went to site work. I lived in Miami, Florida for a long time, and they were just building up those South Miami areas, and worked at a time where interest rates were 21%. So that was very interesting until that got modified.
Can't even imagine that.
Can't even imagine that. Yeah, business was not very, it was very slow. And then I had two children, and when they were 3 and 1, I wanted to work from home, and network marketing found me. And I did that for about 30 years, all sorts of things, product companies, phone company, I mean, anything you could possibly imagine, and got trained very well. And this was way before the internet. So I was known as the phone girl, because everything we did was on the phone. And I did conference calls and trainings, and then some in-person meetings and things like that. And I loved it. And the years went on, and the internet came, and everything really changed. And I got to a point where I kind of told people I was retired, and just kind of, did my thing. And I had situations in my life, in my home, with a divorce and a home. And I was in and out of foreclosure for about 15 years, which people used to say to me that is absolutely unheard of. And it was a very scary, frightening thing. Lawyers, courts, people knocking on your door. It was terrible. And I stretched it out as long as I could, to the point that, it was time to end it and be done. And we did it with a short sale. And I did not know anything about surplus funds at that particular time. And certainly with a short sale, you weren't entitled to surplus funds.
Right.
And a friend of mine, a networking friend, said, "You know what? I think you're going to like this." And he presented it to me and kind of, gave me some videos and information and things. And it was of interest, but I just wasn't sure.
Right.
And then I was making a major move after a long time in Florida, back up to New York. I became a grandma, which was the only thing that would have got me back to New York, to have that little baby. And I held off for a little bit. And then one thing led to another. And I saw some YouTubes and videos and people selling ebooks and selling, how to do this and all that kind of stuff. And I tried a bunch of different companies. And, everything is a step to the next step and the next step. And I got myself trained and I got myself educated. And I believe I went through 5 different companies and situations. Most of it just didn't work. So for me, it was training.
Yeah.
And then after the last situation happened, kind of, well, what do I want to do? I love this. This is for me. This is what I want to do. I just need to find a company and a home to really, do it. So I went to Google.
Right?
Went to Google, wrote down about 10 different numbers of surplus funds companies. Not important what number they were, but Matt and Carl called me back. And I said, look, I'm a researcher, because at that point, that's all I was doing, meaning that you just research the court records and you submit minimal information. and then the company does all the rest, and they do the calling and the skip tracing and all that kind of stuff. And I wasn't getting success where I was, and I was very hesitant in wanting to take on more. But when I found Matt and Carl, they trained me well, they presented it well, and the amount
Well,
of stuff.
look, I'll tell you this. Fran cold called us. We called her back. I heard her talk. She went through what she was doing, and then I was just like, wow, like she sounds great. I was like sold. She sold me right away on the first call. So I was like, brought up the opportunity. Fran, hey, how would you like to come, work with us? We'll teach you how to do it, give you the platform, all the stuff. And she showed up. And but yeah, it was so unique how she met us. I would just to throw that piece of information in there as well.
Well, I believe everything was meant to be, and sometimes you've got to go through some things to get to where you need to be.
I was
And
like, I need
I've
her on
never,
the team.
yeah, I'm on the team. I've never been this fulfilled and happy. I'm very successful in reaching the people and making the presentation. And I've got, quite a few sales from January is where I started in October, but made my first sale in November, and then took Christmas and New Year's off because I knew I really had to hit it in January. And I hit it in January, and my sales just exploded, where I've got about 12 sales now done. Done for me means they've gone to the notary and they're done, and they're will be
with the
presented.
courts,
And
the attorneys have filed, already working on the
yes,
cases.
filed. They're soon they will be filed. But for me, once I do the notary, I know that that's a done deal. So for me to be able to help people because I went through it. To me, I tell them, look, this is personal for me. I've been there. I went through it. So whether it's the person that owned the home, or whether the family of the people who might be deceased that own the home,
Right.
some people know about this is available. Most people don't. So you've got to, let them know what's available. Take them through a very simple process. I always call first, then I send a text, because the hardest thing is finding let me know if I've got the right person, and then giving them the information.
That's the start, right?
Yep.
Or else you're wasting money, time, resources, everything, all the above.
I had a sale the other day where I made I think that was my first or second phone call of the day. And I called, I'm looking for the family of, and she says, yes, I'm his oldest daughter. And we were trying to do this. We filed papers with the court. I don't know if that's really going to work. The court is not very, very active in helping people make the claims. Our firm, this is who I am. This is our firm. We can help you. She says, let me talk to my sisters. She texted me back minutes later, and she said, let's do it. And that was the fastest and quickest sale that I've ever seen.
What was some of the different those are the best, right? Like the days where you just get that first call, and then there's some days you might make 50, right? But what was the difference, I guess, when you came onto our, to work with us, that you saw from the other companies that you were working with?
I saw the amount of work that goes into, on your end, the training, the time that you spend with the callers, as you call us, associates, and to really took and train and teach me. I'm not a technical person. I tell people, look, I was a phone person, but I can learn anything very, very, very fast. And I happen to be 75 years old. So if I can do this, anybody can do this. And Matt is a great trainer, so is Carl. And they just trained me on all their different websites, and they showed me what to do. And anybody, in my opinion, can, if you really want it, you really have to want to have that desire to do this and help people. Because you're talking, some of them are 30,000, some are less than that. Some of it is, 100,000. And I'm talking tax sales. The mortgages could be, $300,000, $400,000 in a surplus that's due to a family that is life-changing money for somebody.
Right.
So to do that and work with some, really lovely people that, this girl the other day, she just got it, send me the text. I wrote up the note for the notary appointment. And by 6:00, 4 of them, the whole family, 4 of them had gone to contract with the digital notary, and everything was done, and they were as happy as can be. And I provide people with what is in the contracts. This is the name of the paper. This is what you have to sign. This is what it means. And then I follow up afterwards. All you have to do, once you've done the notary, you are done. And then it goes to the paralegal, it goes to the attorney, it's filed with the court. And then as soon as I get updates, I give you the updates. And the call that you're waiting for is, how do you want your money?
That's the best
Some
one.
take longer. The probate cases take longer than others.
Yeah.
Some are easier than others, but it's dealing with a wide variety of people. Some people are lovely. A lot of people are not. And, you know, it's sale. It's any kind of sales. You've just got to, it's all in the numbers. The more people you contact, the better shot you have of somebody saying
You gotta
yes.
follow, yeah, you gotta follow the system. This is an amazing industry. It's a really overlooked lane for, you know, for creating something here, but you have to work it, as you know. And like you brought up, there's, you know, you could find probably 100 different people selling a course or selling some sort of mentorship, but there is nothing that we saw that of value that we offered, right? Because we came into this kind of similar. I was in real estate for close to 8 years, 7 years before I even found out what surplus funds or excess proceeds were. Once I did, it completely stopped me in my tracks. As you know, Fran, now we have this whole business that we've been running for about 4 years and doing very well, helping hundreds of families. But it's 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 just different in the fact that you're bridging this gap between these government agencies holding and absorbing funds from families and to the people who don't have the means or know-how to go about it. But the courses that I saw online that we bought a couple too to learn our way, they just didn't teach you the correct way. They gave you almost little snippets of certain areas, and then we had to go learn the hard way ourselves for the first year and a half of going through these things and finding out the correct way to do it, working them legally and correctly, using attorney-backed models like that we do, creating the partnerships in every state, and working each county specifically to what their requirements are. Not doing sketchy things and hiding information from clients, calling them and being very transparent and earning the trust, because that's what this is all about. We're not selling a product. We're really selling trust, a service that we can shepherd them from, beginning to end with an expert attorney that makes everybody feel comfortable. So
Exactly.
that's what we like. So the difference with that I saw, and I think that was the same for you, is that just the other people out there showing, there's people, doing good things, but the full correct legal way to protect your company and the person and file it the right way to make sure deals go through and don't get stuck in that middle. That's what we wanted to create the value when we teach to everyone that we bring on.
Well, and that's why I was so impressed with what you showed me, the different websites, the different technical, for me, had to learn, the logins, all that kind of stuff. And, you just, if you want to do it,
dockets, public records, verifying.
Right.
Yeah. There's a lot more to it than just calling, but it's very, very easy. Follow the system, put the work in, and it's not an if, as you know, Fran, it's a when. You're going to help a lot of people.
Well, it definitely does work. People are very skeptical. They call it all sorts of things. And when I go and check the dockets, I see funds dispersed, zero balance, funds dispersed. I know that it works. Right. If I get stuck in certain places, I'll even call the county to, get the information I need. But this was for me a building process over.
When was like the click moment that it just clicked for you?
This was a building process. As I said, I started this before I moved up, and bought an ebook, no help, no personal contact, couldn't call the people. You had a email, an email support system. And I'm like, forget this. I can't do this. And, found somebody else and just did when I was researching, that's what he was doing. That was something new for him. Lovely, honest, real guy. And he's the one that really taught me how to, go to the different websites and get the information, but that was minimal. I just submitted to them name, case number, amount, all that kind of stuff. And when I got, found you guys, and I'm only really doing half the work, because I had to go and learn how to go to the court docket and then do the skip tracing. And I was hesitant. You asked Matt, I don't know about this. And I started in October, and I'm like, I don't know. They have an amazing back-end admin system where we couldn't do what we do if they didn't have the support and help the notaries, the admin, the people that you send the notes to, or you have a question. And then they've got this meetup room where you need something, and okay, I'll be right back. Let me find out. You jump in the room
Yep.
and ask the question, and everything you need is right there. And I've never seen a company, even with other, products and services, that provide what you provide to us, to allow us to do the work that we need to
Yeah,
do.
we really like to work in tandem because obviously that's how we get the best results. That's how we're going to help you reach more people and help us help them, right? People helping people.
So that's what it's about. The more you help somebody else, the more you get.
Right. And we're doing well by doing well for others, right? Because you do get to make a nice paycheck here, but it is well earned. And, the people on the other side are doing just fine with it. But so it sounds like you have, what do you got total right now? 12 closed deals?
Yes.
Yeah, that's super impressive.
Yes.
I think it's around a little over $600,000 in top line revenue, right?
Yes. Which
Yep.
is amazing. I mean, soon I'll be at $1 million in sales, which is amazing.
We're gonna come back. We're gonna do a next episode when you cross 1 million.
Yeah. Well, this may be a series.
I said when. I didn't say if.
When? That's right. When?
It's gonna be soon.
Absolutely.
You'll do
I'm
that
almost
very
there.
soon.
I'm
What would
almost
you
there.
say? What would you say to someone who's thinking about starting this business for themselves, or getting started, or skeptical about it? You have anything you'd like to say to them? Maybe help them out.
I think it also depends on who the person is. This does take time. This does take, I don't want to say work. I would use the word, this takes time. I can work 5-6 hours a day some days. And that's just on the prep work, going to the list, finding the people, doing the research, doing the skip tracing, and then you start calling. So each day you've got to do something else and keep going. And
Yep.
you can't get upset and you can't get frustrated. People can be very nasty and say nasty, awful things to you. And you just, that's just people. That's just part of sales. It absolutely does work. People say to me, well, why don't you'd make a lot more money if you did the whole thing. I don't want to do the whole thing. I'm perfectly fine taking it to the point that I take it. And I tell people, I'm with you to the end till we get that phone call and say, how do you want your money?
Yeah.
So, we follow up anytime there's an update from the attorney. I will contact them and provide them with whatever they need to make this a very pleasant, positive experience for them. I always follow up and confirm before the notary appointment, and then after the notary appointment to make sure, because it's a reflection of us, to make sure that they had a pleasant experience, that the notary was knowledgeable and respectful and friendly, and that's business. And sometimes people just don't want to take the time to do all that and follow up and make sure the client is comfortable. Let me know what else you need. Do you want our website? What else? What other questions do you have for me?
Whatever they need to make them feel comfortable.
Exactly.
Right. That's it. But
exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you can make. There's no ceiling to this. You can make as much money as you like. You can close as many deals as you want. That's like Fran's saying. That's completely up to how much work you want to put in, how many hours you want to put in, and how many people you want to reach out to, or a team that you want to build. But the opportunity is 1,000% there. The ocean is very blue, and there's more inventory out there for any one firm or big team to cover. So there's plenty of room, no matter the competition.
Well, I follow and watch a lot of real estate and a lot of different subjects, just for my own, understanding and information of what's going on in the world. And there's a lovely real estate lady that I follow. She does auctions. She's very professional. And she gives you the numbers and the stats. And she said last year, in the whole year, there were foreclosures went up by 30% over the entire year.
Yeah.
Now she just came out with the figures. The first 90 days is over 118,000 foreclosures in the first 3 months. And people are not being able to sell their homes. People are not. I just watched another video about the real estate market. Rent is going down. People are, making concessions for rent. And they've got, I think her last video was 53,000 contracts, and people walked away from the contract. The real estate market has been really shaken up. And, not good for them, good for us. At least we can help them recover some of that money.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate thing, but it just makes our ocean even bigger for
It
people that
does.
we can reach. It's an unfortunate stat, but it's a stat that's real. And if people like you and I and other people that are in this industry, if we don't do what we do and inform these individuals, families, and business owners, then they're at risk of losing what's owed to them. And sometimes it's six figures, sometimes it's seven figures,
Yeah,
sometimes it's 10,000. Regardless of the amount of money, it's owed to them. It's theirs. It should go to them. So that's the whole point here. We're recovering that before it's gone forever, absorbed by whatever government agency that's holding it. But awesome, Fran. Thank you so much. This was awesome. Fran's a superstar here, and she's going to keep rocking. Hopefully, we'll get you to that million here within the next couple months. I think it's very doable.
won't be long. Won't be
Deal by
long.
deal.
You have to have a drive and an
Base hits
enthusiasm.
wins games, and then when you get that home run, the
Yeah.
bases are loaded, and you got a grand slam.
You also have to have the right type of personality. I don't know if that's the right word. Constitution. You have to just really love what you do, and that means it's not like work. When you really love what you
Right.
do, and you're truly, honestly helping people, because this is the law. I didn't know so much. I've learned so much. I learn something new every day, and about airship and people who died, and probate and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I knew nothing. And I was in real estate a long time. I never heard of surplus funds, didn't know what it was. And the fact that it is something real, and by law, the county has to hold that money and pay you when you do a proper claim. I mean, what could be better when you look at some of these figures, and there's all different amounts, and what
The ROI is great, right? I've done it all. I've done the fix and flips. I own multifamily real estate, right? There's no operational weight like anything in that side of the industry. There's no toilets, no tenants, no landlords, no owners, no abutters. There's the court case. There's the money that's owed. There's the chain of title. You follow the system. You find the right people. You get them the money.
exactly.
So I love it, Fran. Thank you again for coming on here. Hopefully someone listens to this and feels good about moving forward, and they can begin to help people just as you and I are, and everybody else in the industry.
Well, I thank you for giving me the opportunity to do something that I'm very good at and that I really, really enjoy. And yes, there is some very, very nice money in it for us. And that's a point too. Are you making any money? When you getting your check? It's coming. Wait till you see that first one.
It's not a get rich quick scheme, but it's a
No.
get rich for certain thing.
Well, sometimes you got to be the turtle,
Yeah.
right?
Please, everybody, if you want to learn more about surplus funds, comment, hit the button, follow. We're here to help. Reach out, and we'd be happy to get you into the fold. But
Well, thank you,
Fran,
Matt.
thank you
Thank
again,
you.
and let's go get another one.